I've been watching this court case on a guy called Darrell Brooks, and I just can't keep shaking my head. I just keep watching it. I'm just amazed. It's not some boring court case. It really isn't. The drama is just something else. Darrell Brooks is 39 years old. He was convicted in 2006 for having consensual sex with a teenage girl in Nevada, who later gave birth to this child. He's a sex offender. He has to register. He has a very long criminal record. He has the word blow across his knuckles. I'll come back to that. He originally started court with two lawyers and then decided he wanted to defend himself, got rid of them, and then decided to sit in court. I mean, he's taken his shirt off and jumped around. This judge has got the patience of a saint, I swear. He argues with the judge constantly. He has no idea what he's doing. He's totally uneducated to defend himself. I mean, it's almost like he's only doing it to torture people. It literally is why he wanted to defend himself was so he could take people and have them on the stand and ask them questions to antagonize them. Can you imagine being put on the stand and this gentleman is the guy that actually killed one of your family members and now you have to sit there and answer his questions? It's a whole new type of torture. He gave his opening statement, and in his opening statement, he was crying on how there's two sides to every story. And I'm like, two sides to every story? You killed 7 people, and the weapon was your mother's vehicle. And I think it was an outburst of anger. I think he had a fight with his girlfriend. He did punch her in the head. She did get out of the vehicle and run away. It looks like some other guy was brought on the stand. It looked like maybe he was also dating her or something there. I don't know. There's some type of drama there. And he got angry while he was in his mother's vehicle and he just drove through the crowd doing like 70, 80 miles an hour, killing people. 3 seconds of anger. Human emotion is very, very dangerous, especially anger or hate. It can really make people do really stupid things. And if we can identify that quickly, we can bring an end to a lot of this stuff. Now, people are calling Darrell Brooks a monster and everything else. His mother did do an interview, and I watched that, and I was just like, I can't believe this lady did this. But she talked about how not everybody understands Darrell Brooks. And I'm like, he killed 7 people, lady. Like, it's just messed up. Well, then social media starts suggesting other things to you. And I get a suggestion from this doctor who's 54 years old, no criminal record. And he gets killed by his wife. His wife put 4 or 5 into his belly, and then she went home and killed herself. A murder suicide. Who knows? They don't give you enough in the story. They don't say this is the reason. They just give you those bare facts and you can guess. Was he fooling around with a nurse? Was something else going on? Who knows? But she obviously wasn't going to have any of it. 3 seconds. Another guy that's on death row is fighting for his life, and he killed his 5-year-old son because he was playing a video game and the kid was screaming and getting on his nerves. So he killed his own son to go back and play his video game. A lot of people would say these people are mental. Or are they just people that never learned how to deal with their hate or their feelings? Even on YouTube, people get triggered. Many people I've seen get so angry with YouTubers, some of them think, oh, I gotta go find that guy. If you are actually getting triggered like that, can you imagine what's going to happen when SHTF happens, how out of control people are going to be? We no longer teach kids how to deal with their feelings. We've always given them just good, fluffy thoughts. You know, in the old days, you'd fall down, skin up your knees, you know, your dad or your mom take a look at you and they'd say, you're fine. But you thought it was the end of the world and you'd start screaming and everything. Your old man give you one dirty look and you'd shut up real quick, wouldn't you? Things have certainly changed a lot. When my kids got angry and throw something through the wall or they wouldn't know how to deal with that anger. And that's what it is. They really don't know how to deal with that anger at the younger ages. It is your job as a parent to teach them. Now, what I used to do is they would come into my computer office and they would sit with me for a couple hours while I was writing code, and they would be bored out of their brains. And I would ask them questions. So that was worth it to throw that through the wall? Yeah, but my brother did this. And I'm like, so what? How does that make it right? Two wrongs make it right? And you were pounding this into their brains ever since they were little ones. Two wrongs don't make it right. I don't know if parents do that anymore. And then when you were all done and said, we would actually go to the room and they would fix that hole and you would teach them how to use the putty knife and everything else. And hey, you broke it, you fix it. This is what we did. Maybe that's child abuse now. I don't know. But one thing's for sure, 3 seconds of your anger can change your life forever or your kid's life. If you're not stopping your kids when they're putting holes in walls or they're just lashing out in anger or self-harm like cutting themselves, if you are not fixing that, you very well could be making a murderer and don't even realize it. And it's just the way it is. If you find yourself yelling at the top of your lungs or you find yourself being that argumentative with your wife or your kids or any situation, you got to ask yourself, what's going on here? Maybe you shouldn't be with that person. Some hard decisions should be made. Now, he had blow on his hands, which obviously means drugs. I mean, should you put yourself in a situation to where anger can escalate? I mean, back in the old days when I was young, I mean, it would be nothing to be at a bar, everybody drinking, all of a sudden some bar fight breaks out over some girl or something. Next thing you know, you're all outside duking it out. Well, alcohol actually is a depressing drug. It's a depressant. It makes you depressed. Also makes you feel like you're on, like you can do anything, like you're Superman. Had I not gone to the bar, that situation would never have occurred. So, whatever position and what crowd you're putting yourself into can determine what can happen in 3 seconds in your life. Now we've got a lot of people doing meth and all kinds of other drugs, which I'm sure is escalating anger to a whole new level. Be very, very aware of your anger. If it's being triggered from a YouTuber, if it's being triggered from your kids, if it's being triggered from being at a party, if it's being triggered anywhere, ask yourself, should you be in that situation? And why would you want to trigger yourself for that 3 seconds? It literally could destroy your life. We're all going to get angry. The only question is, what level are we going to get angry? And do we have control over our anger? We all want to believe we do have control. When me and my wife quit smoking, the first 3 months I've said were the hardest. I literally picked up our coffee table in the living room because we were having an argument and it kept escalating, and that was withdrawal. The argument was totally stupid. I picked up that coffee table and it went flying in the air 3 or 4 times. I am man, watch me roar. Which she just laid into me more. And I was just like, man, oh man, where did that come from? We've never put hands on each other, but there's been times we've gotten pretty angry. A couple days later, we were in the kitchen and she picked up one of those big bottles of syrup and she threw it at me. It bounced off my arm, hit the corner of the wall, and we had syrup everywhere. It took us 4 hours to clean it up. I mean, after it hit me, we just looked at each other laughing because we know where that anger came from. So when you're trying to get off a drug like nicotine or meth or any of these drugs that's going on or alcohol and you're an alcoholic, I mean, you have to be even more attentive to your anger that may come. It's almost like some people are on meth and different drugs and they need to get in trouble in order to go to jail to get clean. So it's just kind of messed up. But understand, as human beings, we have feelings. And when we hit the dark side of our getting angry, hatred, when we get into those feelings and we lose control and we don't have control over them anymore, we're dangerous. And 3 seconds could change your life forever, and you could be sitting in jail for the rest of your life. So, really be aware of hate, of being triggered, of your feelings, so that don't happen to you, because after you do it, you're going to regret it. And there's no coming back from it when it happens. If you can count to 10, go for a walk. If you can take that 3 seconds to 10 seconds or 20 seconds, chances are nothing's going to happen. There is a split moment, like throwing that coffee table in the air. Had I just done something a little bit different, that would have never happened. Now, when you lose it and you do have this happen, stop yourself and try to figure out what triggered it. Why did that happen? So maybe you'll learn from it and not do it again. I have not flipped over another coffee table since. So if you quit smoking, anger is part of it. But watching this Darrell Brooks, it really is watching a narcissist full front. He really believes he's going to talk his way out of this. He's a dead man walking, is what he is. He should have took the deal from the prosecutor and just said enough's enough and be done with it. And accept his life. Because he made the choice. But every day somebody does something out of that 3 seconds of anger and makes a mistake they can't take back. They do it in marriages, they do it in divorces, they do it in parties. It's everywhere. So if your kids have anger issues, really, really address that problem. It's not going to get better. Remove it now. Teach them how to deal with anger. And reach out and get help if you're not sure how. So if you want to see an interesting trial, Darrell Brooks is on the end trial now. It's not going to be very much longer. I'm sure he's going to be dancing around with his shirt off again like he was in previous videos, but he definitely does have a lot of drama in his trial. Watch your anger, guys. Catch you on the next one.